Now, one of the other things that we've seen in a lot of the, I'd say mid-2000 buildings is the tape popping that comes around at the edge. It's always uniform and all that.
Yeah.
Is there a reasonable way to go about fixing that? Or is it just because I guess some of the things that we've seen is that when people try to fix it, it just ends up worse than when it started. So
that's right.
Is it best to just leave it alone? Or what do you think in your professional opinion? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today, we have Amir from Amir Construction and We Fix It Handyman Services.
That's right.
And basically, we're going to touch in on more towards the handyman side because that's usually what the landlords are working for. But Amir does offer full services. So if you need to build the entire house, he can do that too.
That's correct.
So without further ado, welcome to the show, Amir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Now, how long have you been at this? I mean, you've got quite a crew going on here.
Right. Oh, man. Long story short, I've been in the industry for over a decade. Worked with different companies as a project manager, and essentially exactly 8 years ago, actually, we're celebrating our 8-year month or year this month with the construction company with Amir Contracting, and We Fix It. We started back in 2022.
Okay.
So just years and years of experience in the industry, and from condos to detached homes, extension on homes, new builds, you name it, we've done it. Nice. Commercial and residential. So
wow.
It's been a long time.
Really into like jack of all trades. Eh?
Jack of all trades, exactly. Yeah.
So I guess we'll get right into it. Since we use you for our repairs as well, and obviously so do other landlords, hence the We Fix It company side.
That's great.
What are the most common calls from landlords, and which ones are usually preventable?
I would say the most common calls that we get from landlords is drywall repair. That's one of the top calls that we get as far as the We Fix It goes. And mostly, you'll be surprised, but it's by door handles. So
I guess that's
it's the most common repair that we get called for is drywall repair from doorknobs and door handles bashing. Yeah, exactly. And the number one preventive measure would be to put a door stopper.
Yeah, which is like what,
super simple. Yeah, super simple. And if you don't want to put a hole through your baseboard, you have those the ones that you put in your door hinge. Super easy to install. If not, you can just get the ones that you put in the baseboard, and it makes that funny boing.
The ones we all played with as kids.
Exactly. The old school ones. Yeah. So those ones, that's definitely something that you can do to prevent that from happening. But that's the number one call that we always get with the landlords in regards to the units.
Now, I also imagine that you get a fair amount of calls for settling cracks because,
correct.
If there's one building, they're always building 5 more around it. And just vibrates the hell out of the ground.
Yep.
So as far as fixing those, is it like all taping, or what's all involved generally in that? Because we find a lot of that is a common one, and there's another one that I'll cover in a second as well.
Right.
As far as the settling cracks, what's all involved in that?
So as far as the settling cracks goes, every handy person or handyman or company has a different way of going about it. Usually what we like to do is we like to shave off the sides of the crack, make sure that we get rid of any excess paint, chips or anything like that that's happening. And we tape it, and first of all, we mud it and we tape it and we put more mud over it to kind of feather it out to prevent from more cracking happening. Okay. The easiest way to do it is just essentially shave the sides of it and put mud on it, but that's not really preventing it from happening again because that mud will eventually crack. So there's different ways that every handyman goes about it, but the most efficient way is by doing the proper way, which is cutting it and getting rid of that crack properly by putting an extra tape on there and feathering that tape out.
Okay, so like just putting mud over the top and filling it.
That's temporary.
Temporary?
Temporary fix. That's
it doesn't have any flex, I guess.
No, that's correct. Yeah, it is a temporary fix.
Okay. Now, one of the other things that we've seen in a lot of the, I'd say mid-2000 buildings is the tape popping that comes around at the edge. It's always uniform and all that.
Yeah.
Is there a reasonable way to go about fixing that? Or is it just because I guess some of the things that we've seen is that when people try to fix it, it just ends up worse than when it started. So
yeah, that's right.
Is it best to just leave it alone, or like, what do you think in your professional opinion?
The easiest way that we usually try to get that fixed is by either adding caulking to underside of it, or some sort of a glue adhesive to the where the crack is, and just pushing the tape back up again for it to hold. Exactly. When it gets a little trickier is when the ceiling is textured. You do tend to get a little bit of a texture falling off from the sides. So that gets a little bit more complex, where you have to kind of repair the texture itself. And if it is repairable, you could always add a little bit of a caulking behind it as well, just to push that back. But a lot of times you do get the texture to crack and crumble by that. So you do kind of have to scrape it off and bring the professionals in to retexture that area. And then obviously you're going to come into the different colors of the ceiling. So you're going to paint the whole ceiling. So it's a whole process, essentially.
It's a big one, right?
It is, yeah. It's not a simple fix, but the quickest fix would be to use some sort of an adhesive to push that tape back to prevent it from gravity, pulling it back down even further.
What is causing that? Like, it's such a common thing. It's in so many units that I see on both the sales and the rental side.
Honestly, it's hard to say. That one of the common thing is the movement of the house as well. The shifting of the building. It kind of tilts everything. Yeah, that's correct. It could be, the tape that they use, the mud didn't adhere to it properly behind it, so that kind of tends to loosen over time as well. But there's multiple reasons behind it as well. You can't really pinpoint to one, as far as I know. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that could have a different reason for it.
Yeah, so we'll get the hate mail.
Exactly. Come on, get him out of here.
So that sort of comes along with the maintenance of the unit. What are some of the things that landlords often neglect that ends up costing them later? I mean, as a side note, for carburetors, for instance, once those go down, we get rid of them because they're an absolute pain in the ass. And now the new builds aren't even
a lot of municipalities don't even allow that anymore. Personally, I would have to say one of the things that we see over and over again is lack of waterproofing. For instance, your showers, your bathtubs, your sinks. Over time, these older buildings, the silicone tends to wear out. It's not meant to last forever. Exactly. The silicone around your fixtures, your bathtubs, your sink, they do tend to wear out over time. And if that's gone, neglected, then every time that you wash your hands or you take a shower and whatnot, all this water starts penetrating through, and over time you start seeing, mold behind the walls, and mold underneath your cabinets, mold underneath your sinks. So we do see that quite a bit with the rental units, and also with renovations that we do as well. With the older units that we go in and we do repairs for, we do see that quite a bit, where neglecting the silicone part of it, I would personally say check on it at least once a year, just to see how it's holding up, if there's any cracks, if there's any,
Then it starts turning black.
Exactly. If there's any areas that the water has penetrated underneath it, definitely you want to get rid of it and use proper products to fully get rid of it, because you can't just peel it off and apply a new one, because silicone, obviously, as we all know, doesn't adhere to silicone properly. So it's best to make sure you do it properly, get rid of everything that's underneath it, and do a proper silicone so that you don't get any water penetration going through it.
So obviously, as you said, check it every year. I mean, you're supposed to be doing your checks like at least every 6 months. So
exactly,
all the landlords, of course, do your checks.
Yes.
So I would assume that's one of the more common issues that you see during tenant turnovers. Are there any other ones that should be also watched for as well? I know that, for instance, toilets come up when they start to rock a little bit. That's the sign of some sort of ring
the gasket, the seal gasket underneath it, the ring around underneath it, that's worn out a little bit. I mean, personally speaking, anything plumbing related, always double check. Whether it's your shutoff valves, it's your piping, if you got old shutoff valves, they do tend to get loose over time, and they do tend to start to leak.
Yeah.
Silicone is a big thing. Your fixtures, the cartridge of your fixtures over time, they do tend to wear out as well. The washers inside it, they do tend to wear out. Anything plumbing related, you want to be extra careful and do a proper thorough check of the unit to make sure you don't run into plumbing issues, because as we all know, that's a big one.
Once it starts going down floors, man, it adds up real fast.
Oh yes, definitely. It definitely adds up real fast, that's for sure. So yeah, anything else, I mean, electrical and stuff like that, it's important, but you can definitely see it. But plumbing is that silent killer, essentially, where you won't know it until it's too late, essentially.
I am just in the middle of dealing with one that we've entered in 6 months now, and we're still trying to get through everything because it went 9 floors down. So
jeez.
Yeah, it was a heavy
that's
hit.
a fun one.
So because you do like full on renovation through Amir, and you do the we fix it
correct
on the handyman side, how do you find that balance between good enough for a rental and doing high-end renovation? Like how do you make those decisions? Because obviously you're not just gonna do a half-assed job on either one, but you don't need the top of the line what have you for the rental because it may break over time or whatever, again, as
correct.
Opposed to trying to resell or whatever. You probably want that to gain that likeness from the buyer.
To be honest, it's they're completely different entities, essentially. For your fixer upper, or not for your fixer upper, sorry, for your rental unit. Obviously you don't want to cheap out on things because
you'll be back.
Exactly, you'll be back and you'll be paying double, essentially. So you want to make sure that you're getting somewhat of a decent product for your rental unit, so that with your own home, you do tend to be a little bit more cautious as far as using things, whether it's your fixtures or whatever. Unless you have kids, that's a different story. Banging things all around. But in my experience, renters tend to be a little bit less caring about the space that they live in. I mean, not all renters are like that. We've had tenants and they've been absolutely amazing, and but there are a few outlets here and there that they do tend to get a little more usage out of the products that you're getting. So you want to make sure that you kind of get a product that you're not spending a Bentley, on the product, and you're not spending the 1980s Honda product, right? Exactly. So you want to get somewhere in between for your rentals, in order to get the best use out of it, something that's more durable, something that's more, affordable at the same time durable as well. Whereas the high-end products renovation, that's a completely separate thing, because that's completely up to the owner of what their own preference is. I've had clients where they've ordered a very specific faucet from Germany or Italy or somewhere, where it took about 10 months for it to arrive, and once it arrives, obviously there's something wrong with it, so we gotta send it back, and we gotta wait another 10 months for it to arrive. So but because they want that product, they love that product, they want to spend that money, and they want to see it. So they're completely separate entities. So you can't really say where do you draw the line on what you spend and whatnot. It's all personal preference, and some landlords, they do say, I want the cheapest of the cheapest, just to get that. Right. So just to get it fixed and just to get it going, and we'll deal with it once the tenants move out, and we'll do like a full renovation or something like that.
So
just something temporary. Exactly. Just to kind of bridge the space from now until then, and then when the time comes, we'll just do a full reno, and we'll put new stuff in and whatnot, and then we'll rent it out again.
So when you are doing a full rental, let's say a kitchen, for instance, so we have a kitchen that's sitting there, what's the order of operations? Like, obviously, demolition is number one.
Correct.
But after that, do you put the flooring in first? Do you paint first? Do you bring plumbing first? Do you bring electricians first? Like, what's your general order of operations? I'm assuming you'd put the cabinets on after the plumber and electrician, since they're on the wall.
Correct. So you're talking about like a general procedure of like a renovation on a kitchen, kitchen project.
So somebody gets all the stuff out of it. Who's the first person they're getting to come in and start doing the work.
Correct. Well, the first person would be designer, just to make sure everything's going right. Usually, what we call a rough-in, essentially.
Okay.
So once everything is removed, we look at the floor plan, we look at the layout of how the kitchen is supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
If everything's staying the same, then we make sure that we check the piping, make sure all the valves are in order, working order, and whatnot. If it needs to be replaced, if it's time to be replaced. A lot of the older buildings like to see repiping to the new piping, to remove the coppers that's existing to get it to the new piping. So we open up the walls, get rid of any of the old piping up until the section that we can, up to the new codes. And same goes with the electrical as well. Mm-hmm. So we look at the wiring of the electrical, if it's the old wiring, if it needs to be updated, any sort. Once we remove the drywall, we will do all of that. We get all of our rough-ins in. Mm-hmm. And at that point, if there is inspection involved, which I hope there is, we would get the inspectors to come in, make sure everything is good. Then once all that's in, we will close up the walls. The next stage after that would be to have all the cabinetry measured out, make sure the walls are measured, and get the millwork in. And once the millwork is in, then the next step would be the countertops. And while we're waiting for the countertops, we usually install the floorings after the millwork is installed. Okay. Because especially with floating, if you want to use laminate or vinyl or whatever it is, obviously a lot of people like to use tiles in their kitchen area. But regardless, we install the cabinets first, and we install exactly. And once you install your flooring, then you have your toe kicks, which is the finished product on your cabinets that comes and sits on top of your flooring. Okay. Now again, a lot of contractors like to do it other ways, and I'm definitely going to get a lot of hate for this, but this is the way that we've been doing it for years and years and years, and it's the way that it works. It's a lot more easier because you can level your cabinets properly without having to worry about how your floor is leveled that you've already installed. Gotcha. So afterwards, you can scribe your baseboards or your toe kicks and install them in after. And once all that's in, then your countertop comes in, your backsplash comes in, and all your finishing plumbing, finishing electrical, and everything goes in after that. Okay. So it's pretty standard procedure for a renovation of the kitchen area.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just because some people, they want to do that on their own and hire separate contractors to do it, but they are confused about who to call first.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We've actually seen that happen as well, where we've had clients call us and they say, oh, we called this guy in, but now we don't know what to do because we're at this step and they haven't done this to begin with. And we're like, okay, yeah, we can definitely help you with that, but
bail you out.
This is we'll bail you out, but this is why you call us.
Starting off right, this problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you are hiring professionals, because a lot of people don't know how to do all this stuff. I mean, I know how to paint, but that's about it. So how do you make sure that you're hiring somebody who knows what they're doing? Because there are seals for different things, red seals for certain things. But how do you make sure that you're not just hiring some Uncle Joe who decided one day that he's going to swing a hammer?
I know. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, I see it a lot of times in the sales side in particular. We're like, oh, we did our bathroom. I'm like, yeah, I can tell you did it.
Yeah.
A little askew,
As far as hiring professionals, in my opinion, it's just like if you own a company and you want to hire your staff. The first thing you do is you check their reference. You check their portfolio, you check their reference, you check the reviews, you check the credibility essentially of the person. If you want to hire an electrician, first thing I would do is go on Google, go on Yelp, go on different websites that you can you can read the ratings, read the reviews, see their the work that they've done, some samples of the work that they've done. If need be, even ask for a reference from the contractor or your general contractor that you want to hire. Ask for some reference, specifically client reference. Their previous clients that they've interacted with, and just give them a ring. I'm sure people would love to give their opinion on how they felt and
Of
what they thought about it, right? So that's the first thing that I would do is even as a general contractor, when we want to hire a electrician or a plumber that we've never worked with, even though I have tons of trades that I work with on a daily basis, if I ever need to hire a new contractor, I always do my due diligence of checking their work, either their social media, their Google reference, their Yelp reviews, or even calling the contractors that they've worked with and asking, hey, can you give a reference of 2 or 3 general contractors or builders that you worked with, in order for me to just do my own due diligence and check your references. And once you call them, people love giving the honest reviews on people, and and
everyone
you
likes
might
to have that out
of course and you will definitely you might get some bad ones, you might get some good ones, but you really have to be reasonable with what the bad ones are. If the person says, oh, they did a great job, but he would come in and just take a 10-minute coffee break at the beginning of every shift. That's not something that I would be super concerned about. I might just have a talk with him and be like, hey, you know what? Let's stick to the schedule. We'll have a coffee break together at noon. But if it's something that's more alarming, like he would come in and not show up for 3 days and then come in another day and not show up for 10, then that's something that's a little bit more alarming.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you gotta take every review with a grain of salt. So
it's just like the ones on Google, because you see some of them, especially coming from the bar industry. My ice was too cold. Dumb definitely. Things. You're like, oh, okay, guys.
And a lot of times, funny enough, I've had a lot of friends and colleagues that people left a review on the wrong page. They just, they just looked up the name that was similar to that name, and they just left a review, and they're like, we don't even know you. You weren't even our client. So
we've had that at Vancouver Rented, because there was for a while another company called Rent at Vancouver.
Oh, so I see. I could see that happening.
Come on, dude, I don't know who you are.
I could see that happening very easily.
So we're kind of like, guys, if you're going to be that close, like, do your job.
Yeah, definitely. See, that's why MRA, there's no other companies like it in Vancouver. So if you see a bad review on ours, it is us.
Fair enough.
It is nobody else. It is us. So luckily, no bad reviews. But if you do see one, that is us. Yes. Hold full responsibility for that.
Now, earlier in the show, we had talked about higher end stuff and lower end product in that. What's the difference, do you figure, in the long term between using a higher end and a lower end, or is there one? Because I know that higher end, a lot of time you're buying that name. You can buy a Gucci bag, but
is it going to last?
Safeway bag will carry the same stuff.
Yeah, it is. In my opinion, it is the same concept. A lot of times you are paying for the name. A lot of people just love having that specific brand.
Like Bosch,
because
whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, you can't. You can't really compare a super low end to a super high end, but I always say go somewhere in the medium. Always go somewhere in the medium. But there are a lot of brands out there that you are paying an arm and a leg for it, but they do come with all that bells and whistles as well, right? So it all comes down to personal preference. Personally, for me, I always like to stick with a happy medium. So you're not paying super cheap, but you're not paying an arm and a leg for your product either, and you get something that's going to last you a long time. And if it does break within a couple of years and whatnot, you don't have to cry about it. You can. It's affordable enough to be able to replace it. Exactly. Yeah. You're not upset why didn't it last the entire lifetime of a house, right? So you still get a good work out of it. Yet if it does break, you can go and replace it, upgrade it to a newer model of that same thing, and it would still be working for another 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, speaking of bells and whistles, if we're looking at more of the appliances, for instance, we always recommend not getting ones with a whole bunch of bells and whistles, because it's just extra stuff to break down.
Of course.
So we always tell all of our landlords, get a mid-range, a Maytag or something that's going to do the job and doesn't have any extra, like, we don't need a dishwasher that also cooks your fish. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
you know what I mean? We need it to wash.
I mean, you've got other issues if your dishwasher is doing that.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Like, or like all these fridges now. We just did a move-in on one, and the fridge is connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you don't want to watch a movie while
right? Like, I don't need a fridge to watch a movie or tell me what the weather is. Look outside.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, same thing. I've seen clients that they spend a couple of $1,000s on a toilet, and I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't see it, but if you like that toilets brand, or if you like that fridge brand, I get it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's like driving a German engineer. Like you drive a German car and you're like, I can't go back to like a Honda. Or not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just you like that sort of comfort with whatever your appliances you're getting. So I understand it, but for myself, a happy medium is always
for sure. I have a Volkswagen actually, and if you're behind on your stuff, it'll make you pay. They're very, very above that.
I agree for sure.
So now, with the repair and maintenance jobs, are there certain ones that you figure that landlords should probably learn how to do over having to call a professional all the time? And on the flip side of that, are there certain ones that maybe some people are doing and you're like, you probably should leave that alone and let a professional handle this? I know that we didn't touch on water.
Yeah.
I have seen many landlords like, oh, I can just replace that toilet myself, and then the next thing they know, they have a
lawsuit on their hand.
They've got an aquarium in their basement. I mean, it's not good.
Good question, actually. The things that there are landlords that are very handy.
Yeah,
and kudos to them. Like, that's amazing. If you can do it yourself, if you can get a great product, if you can do it yourself and do it nice, why not? Save the extra cash, why not? But I've seen a lot of landlords that they try to do it themselves, and whether it's flooring or the painting or installing. I've seen a lot of landlords do electrical work themselves, which I 110% don't recommend you doing, especially because, like I said, we do a lot of renovations, and with the handyman work, you don't really get to see behind closed walls. It's more on the the surface, where the landlord wants to make the place look great, presentable, new fresh paint, look the place look presentable for the next tenant. Whereas with the renovation, oh God, the amount of times that I've opened up walls and I'm like, what in the heck is going on here, right? A lot of just very, very questionable electrical and plumbing work, where you open up a wall and you see just two wires fully exposed with the cap on there, and it's just sitting outside of a box and just like in between insulation, and you're just like, oh my God, like this is a ticking time bomb right here.
Like any fire hazard.
Instantly,
right?
Like that's it. So I would say, as far as doing repairs themselves, stick with the more on surface.
Okay.
If you want
a light switch or something,
don't change your light switch.
Okay.
Even a light switch, as easy as it sounds, the amount of times that I've heard landlords say that they've shocked themselves and they've tripped a breaker and something has gone wrong. Anything that requires a certified tradesperson to come in, leave it to the professionals.
Okay.
Changing a light bulb, be my guest. Changing the light fixture, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of landlords, they pretty much just grab the wire from a light fixture and they just move it over about 10 inches and they just poke a hole, run the wire in. No junction box, no nothing. And they just screw the light fixture to the ceiling itself. So it's just hanging on by, 2 drywall screws, and you're just like, Yeah, okay, all right, but definitely if you want to pick if you want to DIY over the weekend, paint your walls, change the floors, that sort of a thing, 100% do it. You want to change door handles, you want to change the hinges on your door handles, you want to paint your doors, just a very on surface
stuff that won't lead to something else.
Exactly. Okay, stuff that will not lead to a lawsuit.
Fair enough. Now, it does sound like you've got something in your mind at least. Is there any stories? I mean, don't release names and get yourself sued, of course. Are there any ones that come to mind? You're like, oh man, this one time we had this story. and are there any DIY projects that you get the call on and you're like, what is going on here?
Honestly, I would say there's way too many, but nothing that would really come to mind as in, for me to just be like, okay, I'm not touching this type of thing. Like I said, there's a lot of we've had houses that we opened up the drywall and there was a plumbing line that was still connected to the water line, and they just pulled the T from the main line and they moved the water line somewhere else, but that other water line was still exposed with just copper caps on top of it. And that's another ticking time bomb where you still have the pressure running inside the lines, where you haven't fully capped off where it needs to be capped off. You've just kind of left it where it is, in hopes of nothing's going to happen,
which is not a good way to go.
Exactly, because you never know when somebody's going to come and drill a screw into the wall to hang up a picture frame, and next thing you know, they've got water squirting into their eyes, right? So nothing really that pops into mind, but the reason why I always tell my clients to let the professionals do their thing is because a really good friend of mine, he's a lawyer, and he deals with construction law all the time.
Okay.
So the amount of horror stories I've heard from him, I'm just like, oh god, every job site, my heart's just even though we've been doing this for years, but you never know what could go wrong, where one of your trades could just put a screw not knowing where it's going, and it could end up with something that a disaster that could happen, right? So but not a crazy disaster story that would come to mind, but I would say just stay away from the stuff that needs certified tradespeople, essentially.
Now, for these upgrades and that, for renovations and for the handyman work and that, are there any certain upgrades that you see landlords do or suggest that landlords do to raise that value, but at a reasonable price? Just anything of smart lights or anything of this nature that you think can get good bang for your buck, that attractive and not super expensive.
As far as the landlord portion of things go,
or even for actual full renovations as well.
Right. For tenants and landlord situation, as you know as well, solid paint job on the wall, it's always a great thing.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
It goes a long way, 100%. A nice paint on the walls, nice paint on the baseboards, doors, just to freshen up the space. It definitely goes a long way. As far as clients for renovation side of things go, the biggest, I would say, investment that you could make would be kitchen renovation, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we always have a statement with the real estate that kitchens and bathrooms are what sell homes.
Exactly. Yes. And if I had to choose between the two, I would say kitchen 100%. You could do a minor renovation in your bathroom. A bathroom could look pretty with accessories, with nice lighting, a nice mirror, a paint job, on the walls, put a fresh coat of paint, kind of lighten up a little bit, change your curtains to a shower glass.
Yeah.
They're very small changes that makes a big difference. Once you walk into a bathroom and you see a glass on top of a tub, it just automatically opens up the space so much, rather than seeing that blocked off shower curtain, that's sitting on there with the little fishes on there. I love how we were both on that. It's always a damn fish. So yeah, that's definitely for the bathroom. You could definitely do smaller things, very cost efficient things to make it look pretty. But kitchen I always say kitchen is the heart of the house. Yeah. It's the soul of the house, where especially if you have a kitchen that's kind of closed off, especially in the older homes, as you know, you've got the separation between the living room to the kitchen, and it makes a huge difference when you take out that wall and you just open up that space. It makes such a big difference. I actually had a client of ours. He had this apartment in downtown, and he said an amazing thing. He said what we did for him was that we took a 1,200 square foot apartment and made it look like 4,000 square foot.
That's eye travel, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that really stuck with me. I'm like, the second you walk in, you don't have this maze, going through from your living room to the kitchen, and you got to go around all these doors and pocket doors and walls to serve food. And, once you remove that wall and you put this big island and this, beautiful space that really connects the living room to the kitchen, and nobody feels isolated in the kitchen, and the guests don't feel isolated in the living room. Everyone's it's just such a beautiful thing that when you do that, and it just adds such an amazing value to the house. Absolutely. For the cost of what you're spending and what you get in return, it's huge. Okay, it's definitely an improvement.
Now, speaking of kitchens, for what you're spending in return, Arborite has come a long way. Like, I know when they used to have the Arborite that would look like marble or whatnot, it was pretty garbage. I think somebody tried to use a crayon or didn't print it with a high enough DPI here or something. Do you think, as far as people doing their kitchens, is it a good idea to go with Arborite, or is it a good idea to go with, like a quartz or something like that? Because obviously the quartz will be pretty durable, but the Arborite is also a fraction of the cost.
Right.
So what do you figure is that in a rental setting, do you think it's better to go with the longer lasting quartz countertop man-made type, or the Arborite that, may not last as long, but you can get it in a day?
Yeah, honestly, that's very dependent on the person as well. It's very dependent on the owner or the landlord or whoever is spending the money to see where they want to invest their money, essentially. There's a lot of great products out there like Decton and man-made quartz and all that stuff, where with a lot of these manufacturers out there, the pricing is not as drastic of a difference as it used to be, essentially. So you could still get the stone that you like, but not an arm and a leg pricing. And it goes back to the same conversation we were having about your fixtures and your appliances, where there are a lot of stone manufacturers that amazing products, amazing quality of products, but you are paying for that brand name itself. Whereas you could find other products that are as good, as durable, and for a fraction of the price. And it's a no-name brand, right? It's like,
I don't think anyone really knows once it's in, eh?
Yeah, I mean, unless you peek under the countertop and you have a look at it. And they've come a very long way from what they were even 10 years ago, right? Pricings, products, and the selection that you get, you definitely can get a really good product for a fraction of the price these days. So, but again, it goes back to what your budget is and how long you want this budget to last. And you could always, if you do get the stone, you could always get the protection film on top of it. So, it's anti-stain and scratch and all of that good stuff. So that's obviously going that extra mile to make sure that your product really lasts you a long time. But yeah, it's all personal preference when it comes to that.
Wicked. Well, I think we got through most of what we were going to ask you today, and thank you very much for coming out and giving us some education here.
Glad to
really
be
appreciate that. Now, if someone's trying to get a hold of you to hire you or ask more questions,
of course.
How can they find you?
So we are on most social media platforms. Our Instagram page is Amir Contracting, and our handyman service is called We Fix It Handyman Services. So you can find us on there, and I'm sure you will have our page on the bottom as well.
Yeah, we'll have it all in the description.
Fantastic. And if need be, you can always send me a direct message on our Instagram page. Our email's on there. You can contact us directly, and we'll be more than happy to help out.
Wicked. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And thank you if you've been listening this long. My name is Haze. This has been Bamboo, Vancouver's Property Management and Investment Podcast.